Hi viewers, I welcome you all to this Programming World channel. In this channel, we created the playlist for C programming, C++ programming languages, and in addition to that, we created a playlist for discussing about the problem solving and also the logic how it could be created using C or C++ programming languages. So, as I told you, we have the playlist for C++ programming language. Already we posted the videos to learn the basic syntax of C++ programming language and the introduction of object-oriented programming concepts, how we can have the class ADT. And in my last previous video, I have posted the video that's about default constructor. So in this video, I would like to extend the concept of constructor. That is what one of the type of constructor. It is parameterized constructor. Okay, viewers, we go to this video session now. So, what is parameterized constructor? Actually, constructors are special member functions and which are in the same class name. Okay, and those are not having any return type. Okay, and the parameters what we give in the constructor that could be used to receive the inputs from the outside of the class to initialize the properties of the objects. Then the parameterized constructor that could be called automatically just by giving the values through the parameters or arguments in the constructor or initializing the different values, initialize the different properties to the objects of the same class. Okay. So the basic syntax that could be used for making this one is given here. So as I told you already, the constructor that is in what the class name. So you can see it in the public scope. So there I have mentioned the parameters constructor syntax. So the class name will be given to the constructor and argument section that would be given for what taking the inputs from outside of the class to initialize the attributes of the object. Okay, right. So here I provided an example to understand because in the previous video what I posted for default constructor. So the default constructor those don't have any parameters, whereas the parameterized constructor those will have the attributes, the arguments that has to be used for initializing the required attributes of a particular object. We may have n number of properties for an object, but we want to initialize only specific attributes in the initialization of the creation of the object during program execution. So due to that, what we do in the sense, we can pass the input from the outside, main program to the main function to the class constructor. So that could be received in the constructor side and those values will be given to the appropriate uh, properties or attributes. Okay, so now I would like to give you a simple example code what I have for this. So here you can see the same program what we discussed for the constructor, the default constructor. Actually, I told you that default constructor wise, if we not provide the implicit constructor from the compiler will be given to our class to initialize the objects properties. Okay, with the default values. Okay, now we go with what parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor wise, we have to send the values explicitly from the outside of the class to our class. Okay, so here you can see that if we don't have this kind of parameters constructor, usually what we go with what a get input member function, and also we have the parameters or arguments to take the inputs for what the attributes. So x is equal to x, y is equal to y, and you can see that point p is created. The object is created. Afterwards, you see we created two variables int x comma y, and we take the input for what x and y one by one, and we pass it to where the get input function. Here you can see that explicitly we call. Okay, we have a statement here to call the get input member function. That time the control will be received here, and the properties will be initialized by giving these values. Okay, after then p dot display will be happen. So this is what the normal program what we doing without constructor. Okay, so we take what an explicit member function get input to take the values of x and y, and that would be initialized to where our object properties xc and yc. So here you can see that explicit call that would be given to initialize the object properties xc and yc. So instead of that, if I go with constructor, because it is simply what actually taking values to our properties from the outside of the function, I mean outside of the class scope. So simply if I go with point, I mean the default constructor, so here itself I can pass the values. So that time you see, so this statement should be changed. How? In the sense, we have to create the object after receiving values. Please understand, after receiving values for x and y, we have to create the objects and then we have to pass their values. Okay. So now you can see that the explicit member function, that is what get input, it is what remote, and we take the inputs first, what what values we have to give for of the object properties, then we take the object and there we pass the values x comma y. Now what happen is explicitly the constructor will be executed. I mean that, so here you can see that p of x comma y, it means that it has to call the parameterized constructor. Okay, so this constructor will be called automatically. Okay, that will be called automatically because we don't use like p dot p something, because it is what a constructor, so automatically it is what called. Okay, so now you can see that, so I take x value 30 and y value, that is what 40, and you can see the result now. X coordinate value is equal to 30, y coordinate value is equal to 40. Okay, so through parameterized constructor also we can initialize the object properties by getting the input from our main function or outside of the class scope, that could be given to our object constructor to initialize the values of the properties of the object. So likewise, you can take it for any number of objects. Actually, P1 also you can do it. Okay, x comma y. But here what happens now? P and P1 will take the same values. Suppose if you want to take the different values, then you have to call x, getting the values x and y once again. Okay, you see, if I give 30 and 40, that would be given to what? P and P1. Okay, because here I didn't call what P1. So P1 dot display. What happen is that also what take the same values. Okay, so if you want to get one more value, different value for you for our new object, then we have to put it in the loop statement, and there we can get the values for what p and p1 one by one. Okay, or we can give it to what any different function that could be called for what taking the input and will be passed to our constructor. Like that we can do it in different approach, but actually if you need the x and y, again the sense you have to take the input after this. Okay, like this you can do it. Okay, I think you people understand about that, how to use the parameterized constructor, what is the exact role of the parameterized constructor, and how it can be taken into what initialize the object properties. Okay, and what is the benefit of using parameterized constructor, like that? Yeah, we have discussed in this, and you can see that I have created what 2 point objects. First, I get the point objects p values. Afterwards, I'm using what x and y to get what point object p1. Okay, so here only how to use this. Okay, so like this you can modify your code, and also you can give different values to our objects like p and p1. Okay, first time it is asking for what p object. Okay, then after displaying that, it is asking for what p1 object. Okay, so I'm giving like 50 and 60. Yeah. Okay, so like this you can have n number of objects for your objects, sorry, class, and also you can go with the different values for your object properties, and that could be accessed according to your application need. I hope you people understand about the parameterized constructor, how it is what different with the explicit member function will be used for what taking the inputs to initialize our object properties inside our class scope. Okay, if you like this video, please click on the like button, and also I request the new viewers, please subscribe this channel and also stay with us. We will create one more playlist for providing the support to learn the Java programming languages, and also in future we will post so many videos to learn our problem solving skills to face the placement interviews and also the placement written test. Thank you for watching this. Thank you.